Hello everyone. In recent days, the entertainment world has experienced several significant losses, as a number of artists closely associated with film and stage have just passed away. Each of them left a meaningful mark through memorable performances in television and cinema, shaping the cultural memory of different generations. In today's video, we'll briefly revisit the artists who have just passed away, reflecting on their careers, their defining roles, and the impact they had on audiences. Their contributions extended beyond the screen, becoming part of the broader story of contemporary entertainment. If you value thoughtful updates and serious film and television coverage, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And now, let's begin. Lauren Chapin, the American actress closely associated with the role of Kathleen "Kathy" Anderson in the classic television series Father Knows Best, has just passed away at the age of 80 on February 24, 2026, following a battle with cancer. Her passing closes a familiar chapter in the memories of generations who grew up with American family television. In Father Knows Best, 1954 to 1960, Chapin portrayed the youngest daughter, affectionately known as Kitten, appearing in 196 of the show's 203 episodes. That near-continuous presence underscored her importance to the series, which ran for more than 200 episodes across 6 seasons. Kathy's innocence, bright-eyed sincerity, and natural ease in front of the camera became a lasting imprint on 1950s American popular culture. Beyond the role that defined her early fame, Chapin appeared in additional film and television projects and received 5 Junior Emmy Awards as a child actress. Off-screen, she was active in ministry and community outreach, and in 1989 published her memoir, Father Knows Best, the Lauren Chapin story, reflecting on her career and personal challenges. Her son shared that she passed after a long, hard-fought battle, adding that the family is going through an incredibly difficult time. Despite the challenges she faced throughout her life, Lauren Chapin leaves behind the image of a resilient and devoted performer. The character of Kitten continues to live on in the collective memory of viewers as a gentle symbol of an era in American family television. Her passing marks the close of a steady and meaningful artistic journey. Dane, the actor widely recognized for his memorable roles in Grey's Anatomy and Euphoria, has just passed away at the age of 54 after nearly a year living with ALS, also known as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a progressive neurodegenerative disease. According to his representative, he died on February 19th following a period of determined resilience in the face of illness. In his final days, Eric spent his time with his wife and 2 daughters, the people closest to him and his greatest source of strength. Born in 1972 in San Francisco, Dane came to acting after serving in the Navy and working in design. His career breakthrough arrived in 2006 when he took on the role of Dr. Mark Sloan in Grey's Anatomy. Portraying a talented and charismatic surgeon with emotional depth, he became one of the show's most beloved figures. Years later, as Cal Jacobs in Euphoria, he demonstrated his ability to inhabit layered characters marked by internal conflict and complexity. Even after his diagnosis last year, he continued filming the 3rd season of Euphoria. His representative shared, throughout his battle, Eric worked to raise awareness about ALS. He deeply appreciated his fans and was always grateful for the love and support he received. Colleagues and viewers alike have pointed to his professionalism and his respect for the audience as defining qualities. Dane leaves behind not only a body of work that resonated with millions, but also the image of an artist who chose to keep creating, even in the most challenging chapter of his life. His passing marks the end of a steady and meaningful artistic journey. Bobby J. Brown, the American actor widely recognized for his role as Officer Bobby Brown in HBO's The Wire, has just passed away on February 23, 2026, in Maryland at the age of 62. His family confirmed that he died from smoke inhalation in a warehouse fire ruled an accident. The sudden loss has left colleagues and audiences deeply saddened. Born in Washington, D.C., originally a boxer, Brown decided to become an actor after watching Mickey Rourke perform in the movie Homeboy. Inspired by the intensity of the craft, he chose to pursue a career in performance. Beyond acting, he directed documentaries on pit bulls and the band Parliament Funkadelic, reflecting creative interests outside traditional television roles. His representative, Albert Bramante, said, "I am saddened and heartbroken. He was a fine actor and a wonderful human being. He was completely dedicated to the craft of acting and a joy to work with." His defining contribution came through The Wire, a series praised for its realistic portrayal of policing and urban life in Baltimore. Brown brought a steady, disciplined presence to his role, reinforcing the show's grounded tone. He also appeared in Law and Order, SVU, We Own This City, Homicide, Life on the Street, and Veep, demonstrating professionalism across years of television work. Bobby J. Brown's career reflected focus, resilience, and commitment. His performance in The Wire remains a meaningful part of contemporary American television. Robert Carradine, the actor widely recognized by television audiences for his role as Sam McGuire, the father in Disney's Lizzie McGuire, has just passed away on February 23rd. According to his family, he died after a long period of facing mental health challenges. His passing has brought deep sorrow to his loved ones and to the entertainment community. Born into a distinguished acting family as the son of veteran actor John Carradine and the younger brother of David Carradine, Robert Carradine began his career in the early 1970s. A major breakthrough came in 1984 with his portrayal of Louis Skolnick in Revenge of the Nerds. The character, eccentric, yet sharp and unafraid to stand up for himself, became an enduring figure in 1980s American pop culture. In 2001, he reached a new generation as Sam McGuire in Lizzie McGuire, bringing warmth and humor to the role of a supportive father and helping shape a relatable on-screen family dynamic. Over more than 5 decades, Carradine appeared in over 140 projects, reflecting both longevity and range in his work. His family shared, "In a world that can sometimes feel dark, Bobby was a light to those around him." His daughter, Eva Carradine, described him as sweet and funny, adding, "Whenever someone asks me why I turned out normal, I always say it's because of my dad." These tributes speak to both his devotion as an artist and his love as a father. Robert Carradine leaves behind more than memorable characters. He leaves a legacy defined by quiet dedication and steady contribution to American film and television. His passing marks the end of a long and meaningful artistic journey. John Wheeler, the American actor best known for his role as Ambassador Gav in Star Trek, the original series, has just passed away on February 6, 2026, at his home in Claremont, California, at the age of 95. The news was confirmed by his daughter, Johanna Wheeler, who shared the information with trade media. The family has chosen to keep further details private. Born on June 20, 1930, as Johnny Lee Wheeler Jr., now he graduated from the University of the Pacific in 1952 with a degree in music, a foundation that helped shape his versatility as a performer. In the 1967 episode Journey to Babel, his portrayal of Ambassador Gav presented a firm and articulate Tellarite statesman. The character not only expanded the interplanetary world of Star Trek, but also became a memorable part of a storyline centered on diplomacy and unity among planets. Alongside that career-defining role, Wheeler maintained a constant presence on Broadway and TV for more than 5 decades. He appeared in a range of well-known series and was valued for his composed presence and ability to move comfortably between drama, comedy, and musical performance. Star Trek fans held him in particular regard. One community account wrote, "John Wheeler portrayed Gav brilliantly. We will postpone our scheduled program to honor him." Such tributes reflect the lasting respect he earned among viewers. In his later years, he chose a quiet life with his family in California, keeping music as a constant part of his daily routine. The image of Ambassador Gav continues to live on as part of classic television history. His passing closes a life marked by steady dedication and meaningful contribution to the performing arts. Charlie Sheen, a face that once defined an era of American television and a name that carried box office weight for years, was born on September 3, 1965 in New York City under the birth name Carlos Erwin Estevez. He emerged as a conflicted young soldier in Platoon, a driven stockbroker in Wall Street, and most notably as Charlie Harper in 2.5 Men, the role that made him the central figure of one of the most successful sitcoms of the early 21st century. Audiences first remember him for his presence, a look that blended confidence with a trace of defiance, a half smile that suggested he understood the mechanics of fame all too well. On the big screen, he brought conviction to intense dramatic roles. On television, he displayed timing and ease, delivering everyday dialogue with sharp rhythm and natural flow. He did not appear to chase attention. Instead, he created the impression that viewers were watching someone authentic. Charlie Sheen's success rested on 3 elements rarely aligned at once: a solid professional foundation, precise control of timing in front of the camera, and a distinctive personal magnetism. He could move from drama to comedy without losing his identity. He understood what audiences responded to, and more importantly, how to hold their attention. At the height of his career, his name alone on a poster signaled expectation, not only of commercial draw, but of a commanding screen personality. The spotlight, however, always carries dual weight. It elevates talent while magnifying the human complexities behind it. To understand how Charlie Sheen rose so quickly, and why his path was shaped by more than applause, it is worth returning to the beginning, where character and early choices first set the direction of his journey. Behind the stage lights, Charlie Sheen's childhood was shaped by 2 parallel forces: art and discipline. His father, Martin Sheen, was steadily building his career in Hollywood while Charlie was still young. That meant he grew up in a household where acting was not an abstract idea, but real work, with pressure, competition, and professional risk. He watched his father study scripts, prepare for roles, and navigate both success and challenge. From an early age, he understood that recognition does not arrive by accident. It is tied to sustained effort and persistence. The family was Catholic and maintained a structured home life. Children were taught that actions have consequences, that mistakes require accountability, and that reputation should never matter more than how one treats others. This environment gave Charlie an early awareness of responsibility and personal boundaries, rather than a mindset focused only on achievement. Mind when he later entered the entertainment industry, where visibility can blur limits, is that foundation did not disappear. It became an internal standard. Even as he pursued ambition and creative freedom, he understood that choices carry weight. The coexistence of drive and consequence helped shape a layered personality, determined and assertive, yet aware of impact. In the late 1960s, as Martin Sheen's career expanded, the family moved to Malibu, California. At the time, Malibu was both a quiet coastal setting and a gathering place for artists. The move did more than change geography. It placed Charlie in the center of an environment where film and television were part of daily life. Friends and neighbors were connected to the industry. An entertainment career no longer felt distant. It was visible and attainable. At Santa Monica High School, he began participating in school theater. The school had a reputation for producing future entertainers. And the competitive atmosphere was tangible. Surrounded by peers who shared similar ambitions, his goal became clearer and more concrete. At the same time, Charlie was deeply committed to baseball and even thought about making it a career. He loved the discipline and routine of the sport. However, while baseball was about steady practice, acting offered an intensity and transformation that he found more exciting. Eventually, he chose acting over baseball. To prove his commitment, he even left high school just months before graduation to focus entirely on his professional acting career. Some foundations create comfort. Charlie's created expectation. Growing up in a family where artistic success was real and close at hand did more than inspire him. It set a high standard. That standard pushed him to decide earlier, move faster, and enter adulthood with unusual momentum. From a family environment with clearly defined values to decisive early life choices, every factor was quietly preparing him for the next stage. And when the opportunity in cinema emerged in the mid-1980s, he was no longer a teenager just trying his luck, but someone ready to bet everything on his chosen path. From a family foundation that set high standards for responsibility and personal resolve, Charlie entered the entertainment industry with a clear objective. He needed to be recognized for his own ability, not for the surname attached to him. He left the traditional academic path at a young age to pursue acting full-time, a decision that left little room for retreat if success did not follow. In 1984, Red Dawn did not make him an overnight star, but it gave him something more important than attention, a legitimate position within the Hollywood system. For the first time, he was part of a large-scale production operating at a high professional standard. He was no longer someone's son, but an actor expected to deliver within every frame. What he gained was not instant fame, but credibility, the right to be regarded as a serious participant in the industry. Yet he learned to maintain consistency within a strong ensemble and to hold his presence even when the camera was not centered on him. It was a transition from opportunity to demonstrated capability. The defining breakthrough came in 1986 with Platoon. The cast underwent intensive military-style training before filming in the Philippines, working under physically and mentally demanding conditions. Director Oliver Stone pushed his actors beyond comfort in pursuit of realism. Within that environment, Charlie did not rely on display. He sustained steady intensity throughout the film. His performance revealed endurance, both physical and emotional. When Platoon won 4 Academy Awards and far exceeded its production budget at the box office, his professional standing shifted. He was no longer emerging, he was leading. In 1987, Wall Street reinforced that shift. The role of Bud Fox required more than surface ambition. It demanded a credible psychological arc, moving from hunger for success to confrontation with consequences. The film became a cultural marker of the 1980s, and his ability to anchor a story rooted in ethics and power demonstrated range and control. By 1989, Major League opened a different lane. As Ricky Vaughn, he showed he could move into mainstream comedy without losing presence. The film's commercial success confirmed audience acceptance across tones. That versatility extended into the early 1990s with Hot Shots and its sequel, which performed strongly worldwide, reinforcing his market value, not merely in ticket sales, but in producer confidence. In 2000, as film momentum shifted, he transitioned to television with Spin City, adapting to industry trends rather than retreating. Winning a Golden Globe in 2002 affirmed his ability to sustain long-form performance. The defining peak began in 2003 with 2.5 Men. As Charlie Harper, he maximized his natural timing and screen charisma, but helping turn the series into one of the highest-rated shows in American television. By around 2010, reports of earning between $1 and $1.8 million per episode reflected a clear reality. The series revolved around his presence. At that level, an actor is not simply leading a show, he becomes its structural center. Looking back from 1984 to roughly 2010, a consistent pattern emerges. At each new peak, he recalibrated rather than repeating himself. From war drama to financial morality tale, and from film to sitcom, from intensity to broad comedy, his success was not the product of a single surge, but of timed decisions and adaptation to a changing market. And at the moment when both influence and financial success reached their height, the pressure to sustain that position became a challenge unlike any role he had played. When someone reaches the height of professional influence, the greatest challenge often comes not from outside forces, but from within. For Charlie Sheen, the years after peak visibility were no longer defined by scripts or box office results, but by quieter collisions with personal limits. From the late 1980s through the 1990s, he faced recurring struggles related to substance use. At several points, he voluntarily entered rehabilitation programs while still relatively young, a sign that he did not deny the reality of his situation. However, the entertainment environment, with intense schedules, broad autonomy, and constant public pressure, made long-term stability difficult. There were periods when he regained balance and worked effectively. There were also moments when instability began to affect his routine and professional relationships. The most public period of disruption unfolded between 2010 and 2011. Health concerns and controversial statements strained his relationship with the production team of 2.5 Men. His departure from the series in 2011 marked more than a job change. It closed a chapter that had placed him at the top tier of American television. For an actor long associated with an iconic role, losing that structure required redefining identity from the ground up. Notably, he did not fully withdraw from public life. Instead, he remained visible, though not always in a steady light. Without the protective framework of a hit series, he stood before audiences more directly. The question was no longer how famous he was, but how he would move forward. A pivotal moment came in November 2015, when he publicly disclosed that he had been diagnosed with HIV several years earlier. The decision to speak openly shifted control back into his hands, and he confirmed that he was undergoing antiretroviral treatment and maintaining an undetectable viral load, a medical status that allows individuals to live and work normally when treatment is consistent. The significance lay less in the diagnosis than in the tone. He approached the interview with a measured candor, acknowledging fear, pressure, and past mistakes. The shift was not dramatic, but it was noticeable. Long-term treatment requires discipline, consistent medication, regular monitoring, structured routine. For someone once known for impulsiveness, adhering to medical structure represented a profound adjustment. Public reports indicated that he followed his treatment plan seriously and maintained stable health. In an unexpected way, the condition required a level of discipline that earlier warnings had not fully achieved. Some falls unfold in front of cameras, some battles are entirely private. This chapter of Charlie Sheen's life held both, but he was neither framed as flawless nor reduced to a symbol of failure. He was a public figure confronting the consequences of visibility and personal choice, gradually recalibrating. If success demonstrated his ability to stand at the center of attention, This period demonstrated his capacity to remain standing when the spotlight dimmed, and from that quieter place, a different phase began to take shape. One less defined by dominance and more by balance and personal relationships. As the pace of life gradually slowed after his health challenges, what remained were not titles or box office figures, but relationships. It was there that Charlie Sheen's losses became clearer than any headline that had ever followed him. He first married Donna Peel in 1995, when his film career was steady. The marriage lasted less than a year, underscoring how building a lasting family life can be far more complex than sustaining a role on screen. In 2002, he married Denise Richards. Their two daughters were born during a period when he was also reaching major success on television. By 2006, however, the marriage ended amid public dispute. When a family separation unfolds under intense media scrutiny, the pressure extends beyond the adults involved. Children grow up under unwanted attention, and that reality carries longer consequences than any news cycle. In 2008, he married Brooke Mueller, and in 2009, they welcomed twin sons. And the relationship soon became unstable and concluded through legal proceedings. At one point, custody of the twins was granted to Denise Richards, reflecting the complexity of circumstances at that time. For a father, not being directly present in a child's early years is not only a legal shift, but an emotional absence that is difficult to replace. In later interviews, he acknowledged that earlier periods of instability had caused pain within his family. Recognizing that fact did not erase the past, but it demonstrated awareness that the greatest consequences of fame and personal decisions often fall on those closest. Beyond marriage, he also experienced loss among peers. The death of River Phoenix in 1993 deeply affected many in their generation. For someone moving within similar circles, it served as a stark reminder of how fragile life can be under constant visibility. Such events may not create immediate transformation, but they leave a lasting imprint on perspective. What gives this chapter weight is not the number of ruptures, but their enduring impact. At a time when his career placed him at the center of American television, family life required accepting that not everything could be controlled. A performance can be retaken, a fractured relationship cannot. Some realizations arrive quietly. For Charlie Sheen, understanding the cost of earlier choices unfolded over years, through reflection, to recalibration, and a gradual shift in focus. As the spotlight softened, questions about fatherhood, partnership, and personal accountability became more central. From those losses, a different direction began to form, one less defined by dominance in entertainment and more by the effort to restore connections that had once been strained. From family fractures and the quiet periods that forced self-reflection, the central question was no longer what he had lost, but what he would rebuild from what remained. After 2015, Charlie Sheen appeared in public with greater restraint. The impulsive statements and constant media presence gave way to a more private rhythm, focused on maintaining his health and stabilizing his personal life. Consistently following his medical treatment over the years was not only a clinical requirement, it reflected a shift in how he approached responsibility. Discipline, something instilled early in life, became less an external expectation and more a conscious choice. Following highly publicized relationships in earlier years, Sheen has remained single. He has shared that he does not feel he has the space to balance dating with caring for his children. Since becoming sober, he has not made any romantic relationship public. When asked whether that meant he was living alone, he responded with humor, noting that without a girlfriend or alternative arrangements, he was clearly single. The tone was no longer provocative, but reflective of a period where stability outweighed impulse. Within his family life, he has repeatedly expressed a desire to strengthen his relationships with his children. That process has not been dramatic, nor immediate. Rebuilding trust, especially after public tension, requires time and consistency. In recent years, he has appeared more often in the role of a present father rather than a headline figure. Maintaining contact, participating in his children's lives, and avoiding renewed public conflict suggest a focus on durability rather than image. Professionally, after anger management, 2012 to 2014, he no longer occupied the central position he once held in television. Subsequent projects have been fewer and smaller in scale. Still, continuing to work reflects a sustained commitment to acting, not as dominance, but as craft. Rather than pursuing peak status, he has chosen projects aligned with his current pace of life. It represents a practical recalibration, acknowledging that value in a career does not depend solely on remaining at the top. His influence on younger generations extends beyond his most successful roles. For many emerging actors, his trajectory illustrates both the opportunity and the pressure that accompany visibility. Performances in Platoon, Wall Street, and 2.5 Men remain reference points of their eras, while his personal story contributes to broader conversations about accountability and limits. By publicly disclosing his HIV diagnosis in 2015, he also helped expand awareness about modern treatment and the possibility of living a stable life through medical adherence. And that impact came not from a character, but from a decision to confront rather than conceal. Growth does not erase the past, it changes how one lives alongside it. In recent years, Charlie Sheen's public image has shifted from speed and intensity to deliberate moderation. He retains his directness, though expressed with greater restraint. His relationship with his father, Martin Sheen, has often been described as a steady anchor through fluctuations, a family bond that endured despite strain. If earlier success was measured in ratings and revenue, this period has been measured in steadiness, quieter, less theatrical, but sustained. And in that steadiness lies a different kind of strength, less dazzling, yet more grounded and enduring. After everything that unfolded, the clearest change in Charlie Sheen was not his standing in the entertainment industry, but the way he chose to present himself publicly. He no longer appeared at a relentless pace or pursued high-pressure, highly competitive projects. His current artistic work has been more selective, less frequent, and less driven by urgency. This has not been a retreat, but a conscious recalibration. Someone who once lived at an unsustainable speed understands that maintaining that intensity indefinitely carries consequences. Accepting a more measured rhythm suggests that he no longer defines his worth solely by occupying the top position. His public image has shifted accordingly. The provocative statements and headline-driven moments have largely faded. When he does speak, he tends to be more direct and restrained. He neither denies his past nor exploits it for attention. And that adjustment marks a notable transition from a figure constantly at the center of noise to someone who regulates his own level of visibility. For a person who spent years under intense scrutiny, stepping back without resentment reflects a certain maturity. The intangible value he leaves behind extends beyond box office numbers or television ratings. It lies in the arc of his life itself. His story demonstrates how talent can elevate someone rapidly, and how fame can magnify both strengths and weaknesses, and how recalibration becomes possible when limits are confronted directly. For audiences who followed him across decades, the image today is no longer solely the breakout star of the 1980s or the defining sitcom lead of the early 2000s. It is the image of someone seasoned, carrying his history without denial or embellishment. He may no longer stand at center stage, yet the fact that he continues to live, work, maintain family relationships, Carradine pursues stability points to a quality less often discussed than talent, the ability to self-correct. In a culture that remembers people primarily at their peak, knowing when to slow down may be one of the most difficult forms of strength to attain,